Hey guys, Aggie K Wealth Therapist, and we have another episode of Kombucha Talk. Still haven't been sponsored, so anyone out there who's watching who wants to sponsor some kombucha money talk, hit me up. Today we're going to talk about how to stop the cycle, the manic cycle of woohoo, I have money, and then I'm broke. How do we stop that cycle? Number one, take a look at your past debt and what emotions it brings up for you. You're going to have something come up for you as you look at how much you owe in credit cards or how much you owe other people or loans. You will have an emotional response to that. It'll be sadness or anger or fear or panic or neutrality. Whatever it is, I want you to take a look at what emotional response do you have to those numbers that you owe. And get into the feeling of it, connect to it, because that's the first piece to dismantling how you are unconsciously creating it. And it'll lead you to understanding that it's not about the money, but it's about what you're trying to express through that money. You're creating that debt, which is creating a certain emotion that you're not feeling. You're not being aware of or bringing up into the moment to heal for a reason. So, for example, I have a client that I was just talking with today about her debt. And when we talked about what emotions it brings up, she said sadness and a feeling of wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard. And that came up in her chest, in her heart area. So I asked her to focus on that area, and it was saying, what would it say? That's the next step. What would it say? What would that part of your body that is feeling that emotion say? And for her, it was, I want to be seen, I want to be heard, I want to experience. And she had a difficult childhood in that she had a disability and wasn't able to experience all the things that she wanted to. And she was recreating this with spending. Well, I want to experience that because I didn't get to. So the piece that unlocks it is giving yourself permission to feel sad about that versus projecting that experience onto money, right? So we want to take money out of being the scapegoat of your emotions. That's the first piece. Number two, honor what you want, right? Honor what you want. Give yourself permission to have it. It doesn't mean you need to buy it, right? Sometimes you just need to tell your kid, yeah, you can have that. You know, your inner child, you can eat that whole bag of cookies if that's what you want. Because so often growing up, we heard just no, you can't try it. No, you can't have it. No, we can't afford it. No, don't even look at it. It's too expensive. So part of what happens then is a rebellion. And the credit card gets slapped on the table. And what ends up happening is you get into debt out of rebellion. So how you're going to counter that is by giving yourself permission to have it. I can if I want to. If I really want to, I can put it on my credit card and I can have that thing. And sit with that feeling of having permission to have it versus having to go all the way and buying it and then having regret and then having debt you can't afford and then being in that sabotage pattern where you're beating yourself up. Bring awareness to these are the things that I want, and I want to give myself permission to have them. And then let time pass. It's often why people tell you, put stuff in a shopping cart and then go back to it in a week and see if you still care about it. Are you still wild? Are you still crazy about it? Do you still want it? You can do this for a couple of months to see if you still want it. And most of the time, it will have passed. That feeling will have passed, and you'll be in a different place with a different emotional sense about yourself, and you won't necessarily have the urge to buy again because you paid attention to yourself in the moment and gave yourself permission to want it and to have it, which oftentimes is the best thing you can do to release the urge. Number three, the third reason why we're in this cycle is because most people don't actually budget in a real way. People budget either way too much. They budget something they just completely can't afford, or they under budget. And it's often the latter that people do. People with the up and down cycle is that they'll budget unrealistically. So they'll budget $2,000 less than what they actually need. So for an example, I had a client who would say, yeah, but I didn't budget for that because I just shouldn't have gone out to dinner that many times. And my feedback on that is, but you do. You do go out to dinner that much. So are you going to fight going out to dinner and say, that's just not something I'm willing to do? Or are you going to accept that that's who you are? And you're a person who just won't cook every day, no matter which way you slice it, and put that into your budget, right? You see what I'm saying? So instead of like under budgeting yourself or undervaluing what you need in your life, over budget and then figure out how to make more money. In a way, it's easier than trying to fight yourself and try and say, I will only spend this much, when that's not going to happen, because it hasn't happened in the last 20 years of the way in which you spend. So it's kind of like fad diets, like, oh, I'm not going to eat this and I'm not going to do that, is so much harder than just working out more. You know what I mean? Changing your habits that you already know. This is how I am. This is how I do things. Well, if you go out to dinner and you don't cook that much, then accept that. Instead of beating yourself up and, oh, I did it again, I went over budget again, I overspent again, really creates a negative energy for you that then creates avoiding, that then creates self-hatred, that creates lots of crappy side effects to your money, right? To your money situation, your ability to make more money and keep more money and save more money, which is what we all want. Okay, so to recap, the top 3 things that keep us in that manic, woohoo, I'm broke cycle, and how we're going to shift them. Number 1 is take a look at your current debt and see what your emotional response is to that, and bring awareness to that emotional response. Because whatever's sitting in there has a need to be felt, and it's getting scapegoated through your credit card debt or through the debt that you're accruing, and you need to face whatever it is that you're feeling there. And you don't have to do that alone. So you can get someone on board to help you with that. 2, honor that you want it. Give yourself permission to have the things that you want. It doesn't mean you need to buy them immediately. Just give yourself permission to have it. Yeah, you're allowed to have it. Yeah, you're allowed to try that. I remember hearing as a kid, don't even look at that. I wasn't even allowed to look at stuff because we couldn't afford it. It was like, don't look at it because you might get excited by it, and you definitely can't have it because we don't have the money. Right? So you want to give yourself permission. Go try it on. Go for a test drive. Go try the things that you want to have. Even if you can't buy them right away, give yourself permission to have the experience. And finally, budget for what happens in real life. Not budgeting, overdoing it, but also not budgeting under what you know is actual life and what you really need. Because that's just a way for you to be able to beat yourself up in the long run, which impedes your ability to attract more money and or manifest more money. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you liked it, please share and subscribe to my channel. I'm Aggie K, Wealth Therapist. See you next time.